I'll be interested to get our good friend Erin's opinion on your joining of this gym because, like I said, she's a big CrossFitter and has been for really long time, and she knows this guy, and it'll be interesting.
Well, maybe one day I can get her opinion because I asked her this morning if she knew this guy. First, I asked her how the barbecue went. She's still a little bitter about the barbecue.
Yeah?
I don't know how long a Rifkin grudge lasts usually.
You just gotta schmooze her a little more, and you'll be fine.
See, I think that's the problem. Like, I don't feel like schmoozing after our last conversation. She was really fucking not nice. But I probably will. I probably will try to schmooze a little bit more. But I did reach out and just said, "Hey, how was it?" And I said, "By the way, do you know so and so?" And she ignored the first question, didn't answer how the barbecue went, and then for the second question, just goes, "Yes." Period. No, like, well, why? How do you know him, or what's going on? Are you going there? And no, none of that shit. It was just yes. So I did appreciate the response. It means that she was, thoughtful enough to give me something back, but to let me know too that I'm not really out of the woods yet. Good, dude. Good. Yeah, I'm feeling more energized, even though I'm a little rougher for wear going to the gym today. But I do feel like I've got some energy that I didn't have on Friday. When did we record? Thursday? It was Thursday, I think.
Yeah, it wasn't Friday. It must have been Thursday. I think you're right.
That's right. It was the hangover from the Quote Wizard $3 million club celebration.
That's right. You were spending a lot of time in the bin with all the champ.
Yeah, there was some champagne to be had. You don't want that to go to waste, man. So,
I don't think it would. Nothing. Alcohol never goes to waste at the Quote Wizard offices.
That's one thing they're very, like, we're not necessarily conservation minded, but when it comes to the alcohol, we sure don't want to leave anything behind, So I appreciate the spirit of that the company has embraced there on that one.
Yeah. How aside from your meeting with Michelle?
Yeah. Good meeting.
How was the day overall?
Well, it was really good. I think a couple things that happened over the weekend. I spent some more time, some personal reflection, planning, and also just getting motivated again, getting inspired. I think that my focus this summer, in large part, and even this going into the weekend, my focus has been on just the wrong types of things, like very negative things that happened to me, or playing the victim, or just feeling like, spending too much time thinking about what I don't have, what I'm not happy with, what I don't like, and trying to get out of that mindset into like the opportunity mode of like, what could I create? What can I do? What do I have already? What am I grateful for? So I spent a lot of time doing that, and I think like that work helped me get my ass up at 5:20, go to the gym today. I found a new gym, really excited about that, and it kind of just started the whole day off, Then you get the endorphin kick and all that kind of stuff, right? And that was cool.
So I was excited to hear about this morning when you came into the office and you were like, "Oh, got my ass handed to me this morning."
I did, yeah.
So we haven't published the episode yet, I don't think, or maybe we didn't even talk about it on the podcast. I'm trying to remember, but I'd kind of given you an idea because you kind of were like looking for, I won't say ways to get out of your groups, but I guess ways to find people with other interests aside from maybe specifics to alcohol, right?
Yeah, exactly right.
So I had recommended that CrossFit is very, very good from a number of standpoints in your case, because number one, you're competitive. Going back even to your college days, you ran competitively. So, between the competitive nature of the thing and you wanting to get back in shape and you wanting to find kind of another outlet to find different groups of friends, I had recommended maybe this is a really good way to go, because I have a whole lot of people that I know that have gone into it and are no longer really doing it, but they definitely have kept around the friend groups that they made during their CrossFit days, I guess you might say.
I agree. You planted the seed there, and I think you were right on. Just the competitive nature, I think, is what I like about the class work. And then, like, just the type of exercises. It's really core fundamental stuff. And I know that there's, different varied thoughts on the types of where you do CrossFit and overdoing it and overextending and getting injuries and all that kind of thing. I feel very good with the group that I've landed on just because, well, for a few reasons. Found out that you have some connections that know these guys and have had good feedback. But like, just the trainer himself, I met him and he's the owner, and the reviews have all been very positive. And the class today, I thought, was what I liked about it the most. It was well represented. So you had this co-ed group, like 6 of us, all different skill levels. Everybody, and really the focus was on technique more than it was like, oh, let's just fucking beat the shit out of everybody, which is, I think, like the part that a lot of people, if you're not at a good CrossFit gym, maybe have experienced or have heard horror stories about that.
That's usually where it comes in, right? Is like, yeah, they're pushing you really, really hard, and people get hurt because they're not doing or following form the way that they should, or being taught form even.
Yeah. Yeah, so I appreciate like our conversation about that because it really got me thinking about how I want to go about life here after the summer. Like the summer, there was a lot of experimentation going on and a lot of kind of reckless, crazy bullshit that I got myself into and like kind of figuring things out, maybe like learning what not to do. But it feels really good right now to have this. And if I can keep it up during the week anyway, most days, if not Monday through Friday, I think that'll really help solidify everything else because I can't be out till, midnight or 2 a.m. doing karaoke. There's no fucking way I'm going to make a 6:30 class, So this will be a nice thing to say, hey, I can pop in for happy hour, but I'm going to be out of here by 6:30.
So how frequently, I know nothing about CrossFit, to be honest with you. How frequently do you do these classes? Is it like every other day? Is it every day? Like, how frequently are you planning to train?
The guys that I talk to do it pretty much Monday through Friday.
Okay.
So that's what I'm planning on doing. I'm going to go back tomorrow morning, and I'm already really sore. I'm sure tomorrow morning I'll feel really fucking worse, really beat up. But yeah, I'm going to try it. His point was valid. He said, look, it's going to suck no matter what. And like, we'll adjust accordingly. So go faster or slower, depending on how you're feeling. Add more weight if you need more weight, take it off if you don't, and just get in the groove, right?
So you're planning 5 days a week-ish. Did they give you any like expectations as to like gains or weight loss or any of those types of things?
So I need more information on that. I had a really nice conversation with the trainer this morning who was not the owner, it was somebody else. She was great and had a lot of good starter information. But that was one of the questions I had. I would like to get they have a body scanner that you can get a full profile on, like your whole 3D image of the body and body fat composition and all of that. So I don't know how often they do it, but I'd like to get that done. We talked a little bit about just nutrition in general and calories and macros to start. But, I'd like to talk to him some more about what to expect because another thing I saw this weekend that was really inspiring was this guy posted a video where he was probably similar build, not obese, but overweight, had a little bare belly, hadn't been working out. And he was, I think, around 18% body fat, maybe a little bit more than that. And his goal was to get down to under 10 in 3 months.
Wow.
And he did it. And it didn't seem like the workouts that he was doing were much different than what I'm doing. And it wasn't like he was just eating breadsticks, like once a day or something. Like, it was all good stuff. And so I think it sounds like that I could do a similar thing. And that's what I would like to do. I just don't know how. I need to ask them how achievable that is.
Yeah. It's early on, so I'm sure you'll get into a groove of some kind.
Yeah, I think holistically, though, like some of this stuff has come up for me. Just I don't want to have this lifestyle where I'm always going out and then feeling like shit the next day. I want to have fun though. I mean, I'm still going to do it, but if I could just keep it to Friday and Saturday even, like that'd be bonus, because I've just been doing a lot of stuff during the week lately. It would be a good start, and maybe I don't even do it Friday and Saturday, but just from time to time, and it's not the primary thing anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would like to change it up, and I got on Bumble last Thursday.
Yeah.
And had a date on Sunday, and so for those reasons, I would like to put a little more polish on the body here.
Yeah. CrossFit clearly works. I mean, we have a number of, our good friend Erin, she does it. She's very fit. Anybody that I've seen that sticks with it,
yeah,
generally sees very good results. It's just a matter of how long you can stick with it.
I think so. I think consistency is going to be a challenge for me. It has been in the past, and when we had an instructor at Quote Wizard, we had the Quote Wizard CrossFit group going for about a year. I was really consistent with that. That was really good. But then he left, and I kind of fell off the wagon. And part of it at the time was that the excuse was, oh, it's just too expensive. And so I'm hoping that, like I told you earlier today, the amount of money that I'm spending going out, signing up for this gym was my Friday night a couple of weeks ago. So it's not that big of a deal, right? So hopefully, it's sustainable, and it's a good group of people, and it could become more of a community. And so hopefully that'll be another reason to stay around. Some of these guys, it's really funny. Like, they've followed this trainer owner 4 different gyms he's been to. So I thought that was really compelling, that the people, because the guy was even saying, the guy I talked to this morning said, yeah, it's too bad that he had to come over here because he used to be in the same building as my work. But they felt so strongly about what he does. And some people said that he's the best in Seattle.
Wow.
So, I mean, it's a big claim, but he's right up there. Yeah, they followed him around. So that's a pretty good testimonial.
How big was your class size this morning?
6.
6. Okay. That's pretty small, intimate group.
Small group. We had plenty of space, and it does feel pretty individualized at that point, because I had a few, we were working on some cleans, and so I was getting some kind of one-on-one time with the instructor. So that was very cool. The 5:30 group, I think there was a few more people there, but that's too early for me, man. I don't think just without having a car, I'd have to get up the ungodly hour of I don't even know what time I have to get up to get a bus down there. The light rail doesn't run that early.
Yep. I would imagine the more popular classes are in the afternoon.
Probably, yeah. They have a variety of classes. So like I said, they have CrossFit, but then they do that in the morning and afternoons. They have a few other things. They have something more of a spin class probably, or a cardio. And then I think they have a kind of a hybrid weightlifting cardio class.
Yep.
Among other things.
Right. Zumba class.
Zumba, somebody that I know. Somebody that we both know quite well. Christine.
Yeah.
I've been kind of dominating this thing. Is there anything new with you want to talk about? No, you're not one for being put on the spot like this. I'm sorry.
We've got the anniversary dinner coming up, so that'll be good. It's going to be kind of it'll be fun, man. It's going to be kind of like a redo of the dinner from the wedding, I guess.
Oh, no way.
So we're going to have a lot of the same meal. Remember the cake thing? It's called a croquembouche.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to have one of those.
Oh, cool.
It'll be cool. It'll be fun.
I loved it. I had such a great time at your wedding, and the whole, the days leading up to it, just being at that chateau, how fun that was, and surreal, and it was just a great experience. I remember crashing that little patisserie every morning and stealing all the... We raided this woman of all of her pastry by 10 a.m. and it was a small town, right? It was a very rural part of central France.
Yeah, I really don't think I would have changed anything about the way that we did that. It was really, really awesome to see by the end of the event. We spent an entire week with pretty much friends and family at the chateau, almost a week, maybe 5 days, 4 days. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, it was.
But it was a considerable amount of time, and it was, like you said, a small town, so there wasn't a ton to do necessarily. So people just spent most of their time on the grounds and hanging out and talking to the other people there, and it was really cool to see people kind of like gel and grow into friendships. A lot of people that were at the wedding that didn't even know each other are friends on Facebook and continue to stay connected, and that was really cool to see.
Yeah, I agree. I've Facebook friended a lot of those guys and still see what's going on and chat from time to time, which was great. And that little like Michelin, the tire company, was so big in that region of France.
Yeah.
Like that was like the HQ or whatever, one
Yep.
of their big. And so that was cool too because they had that awesome racetrack and that was a fun day event we did.
Yeah. And now it's for sale
That's right. Like the chateau could be ours.
for the low price of 1.6 million euros.
Yeah, because what was it? It was just shy of 2 mil.
Yep. US. Yep.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, I'm looking forward to the anniversary dinner because I liked the first one. So yeah, that'll be good. I know it's the 8th because I was told by somebody that I wasn't going to show up. So now I know.
You won't forget that one.
Yeah, I'm not going to forget that one. Well, I didn't forget any of them. I just bailed on the other one. So.
I think you were gonna have another date with this Bumble chick, right?
I think we will. This is really fun. I'm starting to get into this. This is something, guys, that I've been so scared to participate in forever. I remember being just joking with friends a few years ago. I don't know how it came up. Maybe one of our other friends was going through something or someone had a breakup, and so we were talking about it. And I remembered that time, and it wasn't that long ago, and I just said, boy, if I was ever single again, like I wouldn't participate in any of that shit. Like I have no desire to go out and date or like try to meet people. Like it was just such a fear of mine because I didn't have experience when I was young. You know, I got into my relationship pretty early.
Yeah.
So the thought of going back out and hearing the stories, I said, no way, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go dating or do that. If I meet somebody just kind of randomly, that would be one thing, but I'm not going to be in search of or dating all the time. Oh my God. And here I am now on this damn thing and going out. But it's been fun just to get over that. Somebody said, I think there's Tony Robbins got this from somebody. It could be his own thing. But essentially what he said is like, as far as the fear, like, you know, to overcome our fears, we have to step into them. And I just think this has been a good exercise for that because I was terrified to go in on Sunday and it turned out to be totally fine and no big deal.
So originally when I first talked to you about this was, I don't know what, 3 or 4 days ago, you were very adamant that you had to respond to like everybody. And are you still doing that? Or like, cause
No.
you were kind of getting worried that it was going to be just like, this is going to be my full-time job, just like responding to all these things and managing all these things.
Well, I haven't done any rude, like blow people off kind of thing yet. But what's interesting is that everybody's in the same situation and it can be overwhelming across the board because it depends on how much you swipe. But the more you swipe, the more matches you get and then the more conversations that start. So I've just been more selective about my swiping and I don't do it all the time. I might do it every few days and not do it very long. Like maybe pick 10 people or 5. I don't know. Pick a few people.
Yep.
And then leave it alone.
Yep.
So I had a conversation with someone new this morning and we had a little ping pong back and forth for a little bit. But it's not like it was the first night where it's just like, oh my God, let's go through 150 people and look at all these people.
Yeah. I think that's when I talked to you, is after the first day you had used it. So you were just kind of feeling it out and learning how to use it and so forth. So
yeah, it was new. It was a new shiny toy. It was, once I got into it, I was like, oh God, I got to do all this stuff. So yeah, it's died down a little bit. And a lot of these just fizzle out. Some people right away, you'll have a few things in common and you get a feel for it and say, oh yeah, I would really like to meet up. Because that's my goal. I don't want to just chat for 5 days. Like, let's figure it out. Is there something here that we're connecting on, and let's just go meet up somewhere.
yeah, make it physical sooner than later.
Yeah, and so there's been a few of those occasions. Sunday was one of them. There's somebody else this week maybe do karaoke with. Although I don't know how that's going to play out with my CrossFit now. I might have to reschedule or something. But But yeah, I think there's a few of those things that just happen, and then there's some other conversations where you go back and forth, and then it just kind of fizzles out, and that's okay too.
Yep.
There's only so much time in the day, man.
Yeah, I can't imagine being in that world. The same thing kind of you were saying, I guess. You know, I was in a relationship pretty early on, and then met Christina fairly quickly after that one dissolved. So, and that was even before these apps came about. You know, there was a few kind of online web apps at the time, you know, the Matches or whatever, eHarmony, that kind of thing, but there wasn't any of these apps. So that's a whole different world that I can't even place myself.
So a majority of your interactions before Christina, even leading up to that, like how did that happen? Was it friends of friends at events, parties?
Usually, yeah, it was, yeah, exactly. Parties, I think, or meetups of various types, right? You just kind of happen to run into them or be around them enough times that something could kind of click. Yeah. That was basically it.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny you mentioned that because and the timing of this is all very serendipitous maybe, but I had another Economist came in this week. It's a weekly magazine, right? So the one that I got was on the cover, the main story was about dating in the digital age.
Okay.
And very cool story. So like the lead into the whole thing, it's talking about this newspaper back in 1676 or something. It must have been, I don't know, when was Gutenberg? When did it was in the 1600s. So it was like probably right after Gutenberg's press came out. I don't even know. But way back when, it was some article that this guy put out that said like, you know, kind gentleman, like with wealthy estate, like seeking kind gentle woman. You know,
that was the first classified ad.
That was the first classified ad, man, back in the old 1600s, dude. And
M seeking like, S or W.
Yeah. It was before all that shit. It was like very drawn out. It was like a big contract. You know, it was funny. But so like that was, you know, the beginning of it all, and just how like the curve, right? Just like technology, internet, how everything has just exponentially grown, changed, like the amount of data, the speed. And the same thing with online dating now being so ubiquitous worldwide, like even in China, in Eastern, in Asia, certain parts, like it's actually approaching someone face to face is like they'll think you're a scoundrel. Like it's just not socially acceptable to even meet people that way in certain parts of the world. And then other parts of the world, you kind of get matched for you, right? So it's just interesting how that is. But what I thought was interesting about it, one of the statistics was that 1/6 of all marriages now happen from relationships that meet on dating apps.
I think I heard that somewhere. Yeah, I think I heard that statistic.
Yeah, and it's opened it up because that was another thing they showed too. They had a cool graph that showed since the 50s when they started tracking some of this stuff, but they went back to the 50s and it was like a decade by decade slice of how couples met. And there was the time when I think the most common one is like you described. It was just people in your circle or friends of friends. I mean, that's always been kind of high up there. It's still the lead, but online is quickly taking that over. You know, there's church or school, college, primary school, secondary. So all those, but everything's pretty much tanking compared to online.
I'm honestly surprised that it's only 1/6. I would have expected it actually to be a little higher than that.
I talked to Brian this morning in my one-on-one, and he told me, he's like, dude, you want to talk about being old? Like when I was, you know, dating, I was going through The Stranger, and reading the classifieds or whatever. And it was hilarious, man. It's a cool story. So he's like, yeah, I like found this ad that sounded like she sounded interesting. I wanted to know more. So she had her phone number in there. And so I called and left a message, and I don't know, like a day later or 2 days later, he gets a call. She calls him back and leaves a message on his phone and says, hey, this is so-and-so. And like, hey, I'm really sorry, but I just got to tell you, like, I didn't know what to expect putting this ad out in The Stranger. And I've gotten so many creepy calls and I'm just weirded out by the whole thing. And so like, I'm just like, I'm not interested in meeting up. And I don't know if he wanted me to share this or not, but we'll ask him. It's funny, man. So basically, he thought about it for like an hour. He was just kind of rocking in his chair, and he was kind of pissed that she just singled him out based on other things, and like just decided, fuck it, like I'm gonna call back because I have her number now, and I'm gonna give her a little, peace of my mind about it. And so he did. He called her back, and this time she answered the phone. And he said, hey, this is so-and-so. Like, this is Brian. You just called me back. And I just got to tell you that, like, I understand your situation, but you don't know anything about me. And I just think going forward, like, you really shouldn't make a blanket judgment about people being creeps or whatever. Like, you don't even know me. You've never met me before. And I'm not a creepy guy. And so he gets done like dumping on her all this stuff, and she goes, okay, that's cool. Do you want to meet? And so, yeah, they did. They got together and, had a few drinks or whatever. And there was no chemistry there or anything like that. So they pretty much just said, okay, well, thanks for meeting. See you later. And that was the end of that.
Hey, well, persistence paid off.
Yeah, exactly. I think it was pretty ballsy of him to go the extra mile and like give her a peace of mind. I don't know that I would have I would just let it go, but I thought that was pretty funny.
It is funny that went the creeper route, because that was in my mind as you were sitting there talking about somebody putting an ad in the paper and leaving their phone number on there. I was like, oh man, that's creepy.
It was just different times. It's just like that was the medium that you used to do that, I guess, among other things. But yeah, but anyway, those ads I think accounted for 1% of marriages at its peak.
Classified ads did?
The classifieds did. So to put it in perspective, 1/6, whatever magic that is, 18%. I don't know what percentage is 1/6.
Something like that.
Big jump, that's a big jump from print media. So
that's huge.
It's going somewhere.
How many dates have you wrangled out of this, or do you prefer not to say?
Well, I have been on a very short time, so hopefully that number will grow. But I had one already, and then I have another one scheduled, and then a follow-up date with the first person. So like 2 people, 3 dates.
Nice. That's pretty good batting average there for a few days.
Yeah, and it really depends on how active you want to be. I can't speak to any other app out there because I've only done Bumble, but it sounds like, from what I've heard, some of the other ones can even be more overwhelming. One of the ladies I was talking to said that she signed up for, I can't remember which one it was now. It wasn't Tinder and it wasn't Match. It was some other one. But like within a matter of a day or two, had like 300 inquiries.
I know the females get bombed on those things for sure. Like the ones where it isn't specific where you have to match, right?
Right.
I mean, I'm sure the matching ones they also get bombed on too, but
yeah. So that's part of it, To that point, I have another friend, and I don't want to give him away here, but he's doing a more of a personalized dating service in Seattle. And I hadn't heard of this before. I don't know the name of it either, but I try to get that. This is becoming kind of a dating episode. And so it's kind of like, do you know the Millionaire Matchmaker?
No.
Patty, I don't remember her name, Patty something. She's on one of the networks.
No.
And the whole thing there is that you've got it's a substantial investment. So you have to have a net worth of $1 million or more. And I think this happens mostly in LA, but she brings in people from other places too. So yeah, you have to go through an interview process. You have to have a certain net worth, and to participate on the program or to participate in her service, I think it costs like $100,000.
Damn.
Yeah, $100,000 just to be in the program, and then she sponsors different events and meet and greets, but it's all tailored to individuals. So she'll say, okay, like get a big profile on you and what you want, and the type of personality that you are and the type of personality that you need. So, I mean, they do a really thorough examination and then put these events together to try to get you, the people in front of you that you're interested in. Anyway, my buddy's doing something similar to that here, and it's not to that extent. It's not that expensive, but I think for the guys, it's like 10 times more money than it is for the ladies. So
I feel like there's another, and I've heard of apps like that where like income bracket is like a very big qualifier. if you're looking, I don't know if it's called like the Professional or the Ladder, or I can't remember. There's some other apps that I've heard of similar to that.
Interesting. Okay.
But just to make sure that you're looking in the right income bracket so that some people definitely have qualms about, people that make a lot less than them or that sort of thing. So
that's what's interesting, right? Everybody has their own set of preferences. I've seen profiles where what somebody say the other day, like, and it was kind of like tongue in cheek, but maybe it was somewhat serious too. But I think it said, what, dogs over cats, and it was a deal breaker, like if you were a cat person or something. Like,
looking for a job, but love to travel.
Right. Yeah. Right. Okay. Yeah, that sounds wonderful. Like, bring 10 more of those guys over here.
Yeah. Right.
Fun. Yeah. I'd love to sponsor your trips. Or height, like, is another one. Like,
oh yeah,
5'10", seeking tall. Okay,
yep.
I'm not going to reach out to you.
Yeah, it is interesting, the little like hang-ups people have, for sure. There a lot of very weird ones that you hear about.
Well, I suppose after a certain point and having gone through certain experiences, you start to really hone in on the things you just want and what your preferences are and personality and all that stuff. You get a little more selective. The first time I did this, I was like, oh, damn, she's hot. Let's make it happen. And didn't really give caution to anything else. And vice versa, right? Like, it was college and, hey, you seem fun. Okay, cool. Let's turn that into something. But now, after doing that for a long time, I think people are just saying, okay, well, what do I really want? And I've had more time to think about that, and I know it doesn't work, so that part's cool. So, along those lines, though, what else did I read in this article? There's some interesting things. So both men and women tend to, I don't know how they grade this, but they say like tend to pick people that are like 25% more attractive than they are. Like, everybody's trying to shoot up a little bit.
Sure.
Which makes sense. I wasn't surprised by that. I probably qualify there too. And then the sad part was that, like, the bottom percentiles, right? Like the bottom 5% just don't get any match ever.
Yeah, I could see
ever.
Sure.
So that's kind of sad. That's kind of sad news, but
that reminded me of a study that I'm trying to remember what it dealt with. Oh, it was the age that men and women are perceived to lose their attractiveness.
Oh.
It's about as horrible and piggish as you could expect it to be.
They did cover that, I believe, for women. It goes down really early, like 35.
Oh, it's like basically, like, I think the crux of the article, and I'm just going to spitball here, but I think the idea was basically like, at what age are you at your, like, most beautiful, like, what age does your beauty peak? And for guys, I want to say it was something like 30, like late 30s, or maybe even 40, something like that. And for females, it was 18.
Wow.
And this was, voted by the and this was voted by the opposite sex, so it just shows you how piggish guys can be.
Wow. Yeah, that's pretty fucked up, man. It's no wonder there's so many of us out there, like, swiping and waiting.
Yep, exactly. I wish I could find the article. It was pretty funny. I'll find it and put it in the notes if we use this segment.
No, it's funny just how different it is. I saw something very similar to that in the article too, and it seemed like for men, like, you definitely had a lot more runway. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll change. It's still, this thing is still in its infancy.
I found it.
Oh.
New York Times.
Oh boy.
For online daters, women peak at 18 while men peak at 50, study finds.
Wow. Yeah, I thought it was later. I thought it was more 50. Yeah, okay. Oh, jeez, dude.
That's some funny shit. It's horrible, but it's funny.
It's bad.
I'm gonna zing this over to you. Boom.
Oh, okay. From the, yeah. 200 users. So that's a pretty good sample size.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So yeah, that's what's up, dude. Like the dating episode.
Dating, working out, working on yourself. I like it.
Self-improvement, working out. All that stuff is cool. Stretching, getting out of the comfort zone.
It's all positive stuff. It's good.
All very good stuff. There is another piece of dating news. I don't know if you heard this. Maybe I talked to you about this. Tinder lawsuit.
Tinder lawsuit. No, I don't know anything about this.
So I went to school with one of the co-founders.
I think we've discussed or mentioned that at least on the show before.
Yeah. And so, yeah, his name popped up on my LinkedIn because whenever I don't know, I probably LinkedIn stalk him on news, or he's a connection of mine on there, and so I get notifications. I don't think it's anything I did, but he popped up, and I saw it in the Wall Street Journal later too. Essentially, they got bought out by Match Group, which is like the holding company for Match.com and Tinder and like 40 other dating sites around the world.
So he got cashed out.
He did, but they kept him on. So this is the interesting twist. Like him and a few other people named in the suit are actually still employed.
Okay.
Yeah. And they're suing. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out at work parties and whatnot. But yeah, what they're alleging is that Match Group, intentionally like devalued them at the time of purchase. Like there was some bad publicity that came out around sexual harassment, I think, at Tinder when they were getting ready to get bought out. And I don't know a lot. I don't really know the details beyond that. If the claim was that they leaked some of this or something, but whatever it was, like something was done that they claimed to really dilute the valuation of Tinder at that time. Because if you look at the share price, I mean, the thing's just exploded since their acquisition. And I think that was back, like maybe 6 years ago?
Okay.
Something like that.
So they're arguing that there was some intentional deflation of the price.
Yeah, it was devalued. I think they all got paid something, but yeah, it's a pretty big lawsuit. It's a $2 billion suit.
Wow.
And I think there's maybe 8 people named in it. So could be, if it goes anywhere, it could be a big settlement, big payday. But
And this just got kicked off?
Yeah, I heard about it last week and a half ago.
Match
If I can find
lawsuit. Bumble responds to Match is not a patent lawsuit. Tinder founder Sean Reed reportedly clashed with Match. Is that the guy?
He's not. He's not the guy, no.
Tinder founders sue parent companies Match and IAC. I don't know.
The IAC hid Tinder's potential for growth in an effort to avoid paying billions of dollars to the startup team.
Yeah, a group of Tinder founders and executives have filed a lawsuit. Yep.
Yeah.
Justin Mateen and Jonathan Badeen.
Yep.
Badeen?
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, here's the article here. IAC and Match Group manipulated financial data in order to create a fake lowball valuation, then stripped Rad Mateen and Badeen and others of their stock options.
Yeah, Badeen was the guy that I knew, so we both went to Creighton, and cool dude. He did some Flash. He was doing like Flash designs back in college. He designed a logo for me back in the day.
Yeah.
Which is cool. And then he also he had a bunch of connections and access to stuff. As did I had a few servers and in the big old Napster days and all that. And I think we had gotten the earliest copy. He had gotten a preview copy of Windows XP or something like that, or Windows 7, and so we geeked out on some of that stuff.
Nice.
Cool dude, really cool guy. I haven't talked to him since college, but
looks like the joint statement from IAC and Match Group says allegations in the complaint are meritless, and IAC and Match Group intend to vigorously defend against them. So looks like this will go to court, probably.
Yeah, it's interesting how that's going to play out, and especially them being employed. I mean, I imagine they probably can't. They got to be very careful there to have some kind of wrongful termination suit. It's like they can just drop.
Oh, I would imagine. Yeah.
So, it's just going to be an awkward situation probably for a little while.
Yeah. Oh,
The badge might only work like on the back, like maintenance entrance or something for a while. Like they have to walk all the way around the building to get in.
Segment these guys to like the second floor. Everybody else goes everywhere else. They're the only guys on the floor.
They're hanging out with Milton next to the stapler and all that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. Interesting. I was surprised to hear that.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's a huge lawsuit.
Yeah, big deal. And it sounds like it'll take a while.
Yeah, well, it says at least $2 billion, so there might be other bits in there as well.
Wow. Damn, dude. That's crazy. That's some serious
Scratch.
Yeah, dude. Well, we managed to cover a lot of. We're at 49.
We got a full dating episode.
Giddy up, man. We'll see. I'm excited to try it out. Give it a go and see what happens in a few weeks when I get on the scale again.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, man, like it got me excited in some weird way. Like I was like, oh, maybe I should do that too.
Oh, dude. Yeah, sit on that a little bit.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. Especially maybe during the winter. Like the winter is what's interesting to me because it's easy to, like, I didn't even ride all that much this winter or this summer and in spring. So it'd be easy to, during the winter, just become very complacent and not do anything.
Yeah.
And I'd rather not do that. So
it's difficult here, more so than other parts even, because we're so far north. You know this too. This is interesting. This is a fun fact. Like what are the two northernmost baseball teams in the Major League Baseball?
It's got to be Toronto and us, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Toronto and Seattle.
Yeah.
And you look at that on a map. It just, you don't see it right away, but we're so. I mean, we're just Canada, dude. Like.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at it on like a flat map, right, like the curve of the Earth, like we're way up in the corners, right?
Right.
So,
right.
Yep.
And then I think that was the other question too, like that came up. I don't know if there's trivia or what this was, but like the northernmost capital in the country.
Yep.
Olympia.
Is that right?
Yeah, it wouldn't seem like it because, fuck, I mean, we're so far. Olympia is a ways down to the south of us, but it is.
Are you learning this from your Geeks Who Drink trivia?
Yeah, see, it's not all just beer drinking, man.
There's some value behind it.
some tidbits of useless knowledge that come with drinking some beer.